All right, I got to tell you, when you hear the word mumps, you think that it's a disease from back in the past.
Yeah, there's been a vaccine for decades, but cases of mumps are on the rise among young adults, even those who thought they were protected. Just last month, there was a mumps scare at a national cheerleading convention in Dallas. More than 25,000 athletes and coaches were told they might have been exposed to the highly contagious virus after one competitor came down with mumps. There haven't been any other cases reported so far.
But at James Madison University in Virginia, there have been 24 confirmed cases just since January. That's why health workers are asking students to get immunized if their vaccinations are not up to date. And a new report found that immunity after mumps vaccination lasts an average of 27 years. But a quarter of people actually lose that protection after only 8 years. Right now, kids get 2 doses by the time they turn 6. The CDC is now considering whether a 3rd dose is now necessary. The mumps virus causes fever, aches, pains, those puffy cheeks, swollen salivary glands. Most people with mumps recover in a few weeks, but complications do occur in up to 10% of the people.